Hello again, it's Mike the Cannabis Kid from Peterborough Hydroponics Center, and tonight we're at a step two. We're just kind of rooted our cuttings, and now we're going to go to the next stage and look at coming out of our propagation stage. So we took a row of cuttings about 2 weeks ago. I'm not going to brag about how fast we root them. I mean, it's a couple weeks is probably average. It's nice to have a fully rooted clone before we go into the next stage. So we're really just going to concentrate this time on rock wool. We've got a few clones ready to go. At this point, really, my main product that we're using here is DNF A and B Grow. So at this point, we're at maybe a third of this recipe. There's certainly small plants at this point, so kind of like catering to a small child. We want to make sure we have a great product or good nutrient program, but at this point they're not too aggressive. They're just starting to grow. We're gaining some height. We need to give them some more light to keep them from bolting, but at this point we're still full strength with most nutrients, or about 5 milliliters to a liter of water. So at this point we're just going to do transplant out of the propagation stage, and I'm mixing up a recipe that's about 2 mils per liter of water. So it's really nice to make sure you have the correct recipe in the right pH range. We're going to use a meter, but if you're stuck using indicator solution, we can live with that as well. Now we've had the dome off for about a week. We certainly started with it, and really in my little grow area here, where I have a heated propagation tray, we've got a mat underneath this solid tray, and included with a thermostat. So this table is nice, cozy, warm all the time, and we've got a lovely 6400 Kelvin lamp above us. So these fluorescents are great. You can use halides if you want, or LED, but certainly fluorescents are probably your best bang for your buck in a long run these days. So this particular light's a 200 watt light, so we have it a fair distance away. Really, we need to start bringing it down to give it more light. Our cuttings are certainly starting to gain some height. So we either need to bring this light down, we're going to actually move it into another stage. But certainly this type of setup, we've got great airflow in the room and good control. So this rockwool flat has been drying out at a wonderful rate, and basically I've just been watering it every other day with the correct solution. Now at this point, maybe I should give you a little idea. So at this point, we're more than ready to go. We're breaking them apart. I mean, you can use a whole flat, whatever you want, but maybe we can get a little shot of some roots. I mean, it's nice to have good, healthy roots at this stage where we have, they all should look ghostly white. We don't want to see any wait too long. I mean, in another, few days, if it would be pretty easy to get some discoloring going on, and it's nice to see the fuzzy root tips as opposed to smooth-looking roots and getting any discoloring. So we can just break them apart. The roots will be a little gentle with them, but I mean, if we lose a couple pieces, no problem. It's get rid of anything that's not looking as lovely as can be. But to me, that's a lovely rooted clone. At this point, we've gained a few inches. It's a fair size cutting, so that baby is going to take off for us like crazy in our next stage. So we're going to go into rock wool. What we're going to finish our plant in is simply 2 cubes stacked up vertically. Now, the next stage we're going into is going to be more of an automated stage, so we're going to end up putting a spike in this kind of thing. And if I'm going to use these spikes, which is great for automatically watering them, and of course, it's a very similar setup as what I use for our stock plants, our mother plants. Now, at this point, we have to prep these cubes before we go into them. So just to make it a little easier, we're going to try to do it all in this little room here. So what I've done is I've taken enough cubes for each plant we're going to transplant. Now some people will go into 1 cube and hand water for a little bit, but like I mentioned, if you're going to do something that's going to be automated, I really recommend going nice tall double cubes, or at least 4 inches tall. That way when you water with the spike, you know, you can water the daylights out of this kind of thing, and it's when it stops, the top will end up being still fairly dry compared to the bottom. The water will be pushed to the bottom with a nice tall vertical water column. A single cube, no problem doing hand watering, but just be aware of the weight of them. You know, if you were to take 2 cubes and put one on top of the other, it's going to release a bunch of water. So 2 cubes on top of each other will hold much less than 2 individual cubes. So you know, the standard rule: automation, make them nice and tall. Now, before we plant right into them, we need to simply take a bucket of water. So I don't care if it's just tap water, but when you throw the rock wool in there, you get a bunch of sulfur and lime that kind of comes out of it, bits of particle. Now, you're welcome to pH this into in your standard kind of recipe if you're quick to make one up. But I don't really care at this stage, even if it's just tap water. The main idea here is we're just going to try to get them wet. Now, the cubes will certainly hold quite a bit of water. So at this point they're wet, and really all we need to do is make sure we get the correct pH. Now here again is a good example. We got 2 cubes, you put one on top of the other. Look at the water that's coming out of this thing. So it's going to be, if we let this just drain for a minute or two, you'll see that top cube will be fairly dry. Now, the only thing is, if you were to sample the value coming out of that right now, in fact, why don't we do that? You'll probably find that solution untreated is going to be fairly alkaline. So up that meter goes. Look, we're well up into that 6 kind of range. Okay. So what I want to do, I'm going to mix up a solution, and I really have a bucket behind me here, but this is the sample water of it. So what we want to do is mix up a solution, what I call rinse water. So we put in about 2 milliliters of nutrient per liter of water. Again, that's kind of 3rd strength value. We put in a little bit of phosphoric acid, or pH down. Now you notice me just kind of making sure it stirs up with the meter here. And we can take a look at our food value. Just be aware, we've got different values. So this is an EC meter. Okay, so, it's a ppm meter. Okay, so this kind of thing we're reading, it's not quite half strength of our full strength recipe, so it's about a 500 ppm value. And my pH is about a 5.3. So, it's nice to make sure with rock wool that we're starting at a low enough range. Now again, the magic numbers really are, let's never play with anything that's below a 5, and really you're not pushing the throttle pedal very hard when it's at a 6. So we've got a bit of a range there. And really, once we put it in there, it's likely to rise over time. So I'm suggesting that you always kind of get a mid-5 kind of pH range. Whatever we do, we should check it the next day. Just my point being, if you come back and it's at a pH of 7 or 6.5, we're certainly not in that optimum range that we're looking for. If it comes out you're in the 4s, hey, we're way past the red line there as far as pushing the pH down. So we're going to take our water here, and lots of ways of doing it. An easy way might be simply stacking some cubes on a bucket. I love working with laundry tubs, and we have one in the other room, just a little harder to deal with for the camera here. So, hey, a lattice tray will do it. I love these perforated trays we sell at the store, another PHC product we produce right in Peterborough. And these fit right across a laundry tub. So they're way convenient and good and solid. Now, whatever way you do it, we just simply want to take that water and flush it down through. Now we want to rinse to waste. if you let it sit in something, you know, you're really not exchanging the water the same way. As well, you know, we could also stack up the cubes at the same time. You know, you could, if you're doing a whole bunch of them in a laundry tub or something, that's great. And then, really, you know, I'm going to suggest don't mess around. You know, what's it cost you to put a little extra water through that thing? I'm going to, you know, guarantee you, if you flush the living crap out of it, it's probably going to be right. So, whichever way you do it, don't short yourself on that. A lot of people ask me how much water to put that through there, and I usually come out with a standard answer. I'll mix the same 10-liter bucket of water or 20-liter bucket of water every single time. So when it comes to flushing a cube, I'm going to use the whole bucket. It doesn't matter whether it's 1 cube or 20. So we're going to rush things along a bit. You know, of course, we're going to take our cubes. If we're doing a whole bunch of them, you know, depending on your evaporation rate, and it's always nice to know how quickly your cubes will dry out if they're just sitting here by themselves. You know, that gives you confidence in your watering cycle, and it's pretty easy to do. You know, just set a cube there, let it dry on its own. Does it take a week? That's a problem. Does it take, you know, a day or a very short period of time? Well, whatever it may be, good idea to get a grip on, you know, how quickly things will dry out in your room. Now, you know, cubes soaked in a bucket are as wet as it can be, so there's no problem stacking a bunch of them up, you know, letting them kind of drain for a period of time, switching them all around so that, you know, you end up with a bunch of cubes that are, you know, maybe not quite as light as brand new, but certainly, you know, somewhere in between. So once we've got these, you know, we're certainly always encouraging taking samples. Now, again, I don't suggest that we squeeze these cubes. It's awfully tempting because I know they sure will squeeze and we'll get some water out of them. But my suggestion is, you know, turn them on an angle or double them up. Try never to squish them. You're paying a great amount of money to get these great cubes that are full of little air pockets, and surely if we squish them enough, you're just squishing out all the little air pockets. So there was a successful sample without crushing the medium too much. Now, in this case, I'm going to tell you, we kind of already know what the food value is going to be, so I'm mostly concerned about the pH of it. Now, there's a good example. Hey, I'd say she's a little high, wouldn't you? So in this case, what we're going to do, you know, you'll notice I didn't use my whole bucket of water. I'm going to take these right back to the drawing board, you know, and we're going to flush the living daylights out. Okay? So what we're trying to achieve, and I'm just going to shortcut this a little bit, is that mid-5 pH. And I just want to point out, you know, kind of what we're looking for if you're using this indicator solution. Now, indicator solution, you know, is much less money than a meter. It'll always get you by, but it's certainly not quite as accurate as a meter. So, you know, if it's not a good example there, let's go under the light. What we're looking for is kind of this, you know, we measured this one already. It was a 5.3. So, you know, we're looking for this kind of beer color. This you know, yellow, or let's call it pea color, is not going to do. We'll put the pea in the dirt. We'll put the beer in the guys that want to do the hydroponics. So that's the type of value we want to get. And again, whether it's, you know, coming out of a 1-inch cube, coming out of a 4-inch cube, whether it's being drained, there's always love using Rockwell syringes. Kind of a, you know, real simple idea, just a little hose. You know, here's the system running. We can poke right into the cubes at any time, suck the water right out of it, and double check. So it's kind of a funny game with this hydroponics. It's really water management. So you know, if you test it enough times, you'll certainly realize that if you can achieve the correct values, which are always listed right on like a DNF food chart, you can just follow along. You know, you want to achieve those kind of values all the time. So we're just going to come back to this cube again, and again, we're going to flush it a bit more. We're going to double check it. But what I'm getting at is, let's have a nice rooted clone. You know, it's as simple as pushing it in, making sure it's a nice seat. The rest of that area will just grow in by itself. Again, if you're going to put you know, an automated spike type system and a tank, and you're ready to do that, I'm going to really suggest putting it at least double cubes. Now they can be 3-inch cubes, these are double 4-inch cubes, and we're going to grow a fairly big plant with that, which we'll show you some in a few minutes as well. Now we'll simply go through and, you know, plug them all into cubes. At this point, what we're going to do, you know, once they're in the cubes, I often just grow them for a little while with the cubes themselves. If you look over at our stock plants or mother plants, my flowering plants are set up exactly the same way. So what we're doing here is really, you know, we've got cubes that are supported in here with stone. Now we just filled these up to the top just a little while ago. I think last time we were filming here a couple weeks ago, we actually just had stone right to the bottom. Now we filled them up, made them a little more stable. I mean, we've trimmed them a couple times. So this, of course, is where all our cuttings came from, and I did speak about that in another segment. Now I just want to mention, you know, we're cutting these back. What I like is this technique I call hedging the plant. So, you know, let's just decide it all has to be this tall. It's very difficult to light areas that have one tall plant and, you know, 3 small ones. If the light's just above the tallest one, the other ones are you know, getting ripped off. So they'll very quickly stretch up, and we'll get these lank, you know, gangly long plants. So this kind of thing, we've kind of trimmed some areas. We've managed to make sure that, you know, our favorite variety has its own space to grow. I've got a couple really aggressive ones that, boy, if you didn't trim them back, you find that they just grow the whole table and start dominating. So very important, you know, if you want to keep your favorite varieties going, and really now I have 8 varieties going in this one fluorescent light area. So it's very important. Now we actually, when we took clones about 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to say it was 15 days ago, we actually trimmed these plants right back that point. Now we actually trimmed these back again 3 days ago. So, you know, we're talking once they get into this kind of, you know, large stock, aggressive growing plant, we need to trim them back every couple weeks, or they're going to be a very tall, you know, crazy chaos of a plant. So plant management is huge. I actually replace my stock plants every couple months. So really, when we're putting the next batch on the table in a few weeks, what I will do is I'll keep some plants back that will become new mothers. So every, you know, 2 or 3 months, let's say, these are completely replaced. I'm going to say these have, you know, these just went through that transplant stage, and I'm going to say it was roughly 8 weeks ago. So in fact, I'm going to say 7 weeks ago. So this is certainly a pretty, you know, easy growing garden, super aggressive as far as, you know, what we can produce once we get this size of plant. Boy, I could pull, I could probably pull 100 cuttings a week from this, these little plants under fluorescence without a problem. So, you know, I manage the time so it's not a lot of work. When I don't need a lot of cuttings, I don't really want much plant mass. I'll try to train them so that, you know, really I need some more cuttings in a few weeks. So we trim them back, we hedge them nicely. You know, from this point on, the next few weeks, I'm just going to kind of keep raising the lights and try not to burn the tops. And we'll have the next probably, let's say, 6 inches of plant matter just full of potential cuttings for our next batch. And of course, hey, it's nice having a whole bunch of them. I don't really need that many, but what'll happen is, hey, we'll take the best ones. So it's nice to have enough that you can select, you know, the best of the litter, so to speak. And of course, with this many different varieties, you know, you might have a favorite that you want to make sure you have enough cuttings. So I think that's about it. We're going to take you into the flowering room just to give you a quick glimpse of it. It's a few weeks away yet, but we'll see you there.